In this harrowing and deeply reflective continuation of the best-selling John Matherson saga, William R. Forstchen returns to a scarred, unrecognizable America to explore the grueling secondary phase of societal collapse. Set 5 years after the devastating high-altitude electromagnetic pulse, EMP, that instantly threw the nation back into the Dark Ages, the narrative finds John Matherson trying to maintain a fragile peace in the mountains of Black Mountain, North Carolina. The immediate horrors of starvation and localized tribal warfare have settled, but a new, insidious threat looms. The remnants of the federal government, operating as the new regime under authoritarian rule from the ashes of Bluemont, Virginia, are attempting to forcefully reunify the fractured territory. When a high-ranking military administrator arrives in the valley demanding forced conscription of the town's youth and the immediate seizure of their remaining resources, Matherson must weigh the survival of his community against the tyranny of a resurrected state. The narrative functions as an intense exploration of the Reconstruction tyranny and the cost of bureaucracy archetypes. Forstchen masterfully flips the traditional post-apocalyptic survival tropes. The enemy is no longer rogue marauders or the elements, but rather a cold, administrative government weaponizing food, medicine, and legal edicts to crush regional independence. The book explores a neo-feudalism dynamic, detailing how centralized powers utilize scarce pre-collapse resources to force starving, isolated protectorates into modern serfdom. Forstchen's writing style remains starkly realistic, heavy with historical parallels, and deeply emotional. He excels at sociology logistical realism, focusing on the long-term systemic failures of a collapsing world, the permanent loss of industrial manufacturing, the resurgence of eradicated 19th century diseases, and the psychological exhaustion of a population that has forgotten the comfort of a functioning electrical grid. The pacing is a slow, tense drumbeat, building friction with every bureaucratic overreach until it sparks an inevitable, localized civil war. The book tackles heavy themes of the inherent danger of centralizing power during a crisis, the definition of true patriotism when the old laws are dead, and the generational trauma of children born into a world without a future. It poses a chilling question. When the government that failed to protect you returns to rule you, do you surrender your autonomy for safety, or do you fight the ghost of your old country? As Black Mountain prepares to resist the tyrannical demands of the new regime's military machine, the stakes expand from basic community preservation to a fundamental battle for individual liberty. The rugged Blue Ridge Mountains, which once served as a sanctuary from the initial chaos, transform into a tactical battlefield where Matherson must use guerrilla warfare tactics to defend his borders against a better-equipped force. The narrative tension is perfectly sustained by a moral catch-22 element. Matherson knows that resisting the federal government risks total annihilation for his people, but compliance means handing his daughters and his community over to a totalitarian dictatorship. By the final conflict, 5 years after, delivers an incredibly moving, thought-provoking conclusion that acts as a profound warning about the fragility of liberty and the true cost of rebuilding a fallen nation. If you love hyper-realistic, high-IQ post-apocalyptic fiction that prioritizes political philosophy, logistical strategy, and deep human stakes, think authors like Cormac McCarthy, Bobby Auckart, or Mark Goodwin. This brilliant expansion of the Matherson universe is a vital, unforgettable read.